Welcome to Introspective Illumination. My name is Leslie, and today I'm doing a pick a card reading from the Divine Feminine. So we're going to have you pick one of these decks. So this is deck 1, deck 2, deck 3. You'll be getting messages from all three, but this is what we're going to use this time to choose. So whatever deck you feel the most called to, and I'll give you about a minute to choose. Hello, and this is if you chose deck 1, which is a very beautiful deck, one of my personal favorites. So let's see what's coming through for you from the Divine Feminine. And the reason I chose this reading was the next upcoming years, we're going to be, our society in general is going to be more in touch with this Divine Feminine side. So this is really important for us to really connect to this and hear what, connect with what we're here to learn from this experience. So of course, the first card we get is Divine Feminine, Step into Your Power. And there's a lot of symbolism on this card here. So kind of let you look. So we have the number 13, the moon, we have an eye, a butterfly, a snake. So any of that feminine symbolism can be significant for you. We have cast a circle, healthy boundaries are crucial for growth, and trust that the universe has a plan for you. So for this upcoming year or so, the Divine Feminine is really connecting strongly with you to step into your power. We frequently think of the feminine as weak or not powerful, and that's not true. The Divine Feminine is a different type of power than that overtly masculine, charging ahead type of power, controlling others. That's not what the Divine Feminine is about, but it's very powerful. And one of the things you're being asked to learn as you step into this part of your power is setting those healthy boundaries. Because when we don't set healthy boundaries, we get walked all over. We have people who are taking advantage of us. And maybe this is something that you've struggled with. And the Divine Feminine really wants you to know that it's okay and important for you to set healthy boundaries in order to not only protect yourself, but bring in the things you want and kind of shut out the things that you don't. When we don't have boundaries, anything can just come in, right? So think of if you had a house without walls, anything can just come in. So you need to have those boundaries in place, kind of like walls in a house, where you can choose to let people in or not. You can walk out or not. You decide what happens in your area. And part of this healthy boundaries is trusting that you are making the right decision. Sometimes it can be hard to set boundaries with people, especially I'm feeling like for some of you, this is around work. And trust that the universe has a plan for you, despite maybe what you're feeling or seeing on the outside of whatever situation this applies to. So let's get some more information here. Okay, I'm gonna flip right over. So we have Ray, Flow, and that's number 44, which is a significant master number. And part of that flow too is with this trusting the universe is when we have that trust, we can just kind of go with the flow of situations while honoring ourselves and our power. So things in your life may not be exactly how you want them to be, or you know, quote unquote perfect. This doesn't mean you're not going to have challenging things by trusting. What this means though, is when you trust in the universe, you trust in this divine flow, you're going to flow toward the things that are meant for you and not toward the things that are not. And again, you have to have that boundary though, or you're just going to flow all over the place. So then we have truth. And again, we have truth, we have trust. So there's very much this energy of trusting in yourself, trusting in your divine feminine, whether you identify as female or not. We all have that in us. And trust that your boundaries are correct. You might feel pressure from others to kind of let your guard down, to not honor yourself, but you need to learn to trust in your own power, that you are making the right decisions for yourself. And you can trust in that flow where the universe is guiding you, that you are going to end up where you're meant to be, and you will be okay, even if they're difficult times. Okay, so we have number 12. You are unlimited. What you can create is unlimited. And this feels directly in line with this trusting what the universe has for you, is trusting that you are more than what you think you are, is what's coming through. So trusting that you have more power, you have more like you are way more than what you think, and you are truly unlimited. You can essentially do whatever you are feeling called to do in this moment, and you don't have to let, it feels like you're holding yourself back almost. So this is number 20. You're here for a purpose, learning, realizing what matters to you. So again, we're going back to this where trusting in yourself and trusting that you are here for a reason, even though you may not feel that way, if that makes sense. And then we have number 18. Shine love on fear. Love will light up the darkness. So a lot of what the divine feminine is love and that healing energy. And this is asking you to shine love on your own fear. So like when I'm being drawn to this number 13 on this card, where we consider it an unlucky number, we frequently have these fears around these arbitrary things that society has like told us are bad that don't really mean actually much of anything. That's one person's experience or one set of people's experience. And this is your reminder that you create your own experience. So realize what matters to you and move forward with that. You don't have to let these things that scare other people scare you. Really, you're being called to really reevaluate some of the things that either you're letting happen in your life or you're fearful of, because they're really holding you back. And so for example, let's say, I'll give a personal example of something small, but this can be applied to obviously a bigger situation. So my hair is purple and pink, and for the longest time I didn't dye my hair that color, and it was the fears of other people that were causing me to make that decision, not my own. I don't actually have any fears around that, but for other people they did. They have a lot of ideas of all these things that could mean, or all these things that could happen, right? But once I realized, okay, that I don't think any of these things, I was able to be true to myself and move forward. So that's what you're being called to do in this period of time where we're all going to be more in touch with the divine feminine, is shine a light on those fears that you have. So I'm almost seeing like a light that, dissipates a shadow, and then you can move forward on that path that you thought something was holding you back, but it's actually not. And you can create and do whatever feels right for you, right? And like this card says, love will light up the darkness, with the idea of the flashlight shining on the shadow, is love is going to shine a light on that darkness within yourself that maybe isn't even yours. And even if it is, it's going to help you move through that, so you can be more in touch with that loving divine feminine energy and be more powerful in the way that instead of lashing out at people, for example, because you have some sort of shadow within you, you learn about it, you heal from it, and then you can even help others with that, right? So that's one way that we can use that fear and those shadows we have and use that in a loving way. Or maybe you're able to better communicate with people because you recognize some of those wounds that you used to have, and you're able to be more patient and loving. So those are some examples. At the same time, I'm being called to remind you though, to keep the boundaries. So even though you may be able to relate to people and understand where they're coming from, you still have to put those healthy boundaries in place, because not everyone is on the same healing path that you are, or the same place, and you can still be taken advantage of if you're too open. So again, put up the boundaries and decide who you want in and where you want to go into somebody's life, and that is really going to help you in this lifetime and figure out what matters to you and be true to that. Okay, we have number 16, full moon power. So I mean, we're getting again the power. And if you look in this card, it is a female with the full moon. She's looking very powerful and in touch with herself. So you have this power inside of you. Your fears might have been holding you back, but they don't need to any longer. Okay, and then we have number 43, the unexpected blue moon. So as you're moving through this this path, this kind of self-discovery, I think there's going to be a lot of unexpected parts of you that crop up that you're like, wow, I always thought that I was this way, but I'm actually this way. And that's actually a lot of fun. You're kind of like, I feel like you're learning about yourself again and what is actually true to you instead of what has almost been conditioned. And again, this is going to make you feel very powerful. You're going to be very self-assured. You're going to trust more in where you're being taken, while still being able to know you'll be okay no matter what comes up. And I feel like for some of you on this card where there's two people, you may be going through this journey with another, maybe a close friend, or maybe someone new is going to be coming into your life as you go through this, and someone recognizes in you what they've also experienced. So this can be also a beautiful time for new friendships and cultivating relationships with people who are more in tune with who you actually are. So let's get another message here from our Divine Feminine, what they want us to know. You are supported and will have helpers whenever you need them. Let them come. Yep. So this goes back to this card with that person or people coming into your life when maybe you're feeling that fear, or you're feeling like you can't be true to yourself. Whatever is going to come up for you, you are supported, and let these people come into your life. Maybe some of you have some fears and reservations about trusting just people, right? And this is telling you, again, with healthy boundaries, the people that are going to be coming into your life, you can trust them and let them help you. I know for me personally, letting people help me can be challenging, and I feel weird asking for help. But this is your reminder that part of the Divine Feminine is almost like sitting back and receiving. So let that loving, receiving energy come into your life from others when they're there to do that for you. Don't push that out, right? Connect to that Divine Feminine part of yourself and receive. And they will show up when you allow yourself to receive. So I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe and let me know below what kind of other readings you'd like. Bye-bye. Hello, and this is if you chose the second pile with these beautiful cards. I mean, look at this iridescent. Oh, look at that. Okay, so let's see what's coming through for you from your Divine Feminine. Okay, we have number 13. It's very hard to see. You deserve good things. Keep your focus on what you want. Number 29, enjoy where you are, for soon you will be somewhere else. And then number 39, spend time on you, balance yourself. Okay. So what is coming through for me right away with the balancing yourself is balancing that divine feminine and masculine energy. So feminine is going to be receiving, masculine is going to be doing, action, kind of taking control, and balancing that part of yourself. Sometimes it can be hard. I feel like some of us just lean one way or the other. So for me, I'm more of that masculine side, and I have to spend that time to connect more to the divine feminine. But once you achieve this balance, and it's always a game, right? You don't just do it once and then you're there forever. You kind of go back and forth and get to a balance, and maybe you start to lean one way or the other, and that's totally normal. But once you achieve this balance and this focus you have on what you want, so maybe you've been working really hard toward a goal, now would be the time to step back a little and let yourself receive reap the benefits of that, right? Or maybe you've been too much in the receiving side and you need to be taking action. Whatever that is for you, keeping focused on what you want is going to help bring that in and manifest it. And you're also being called at the same time to kind of enjoy where you are in this process, whatever it is for you, because soon you're going to be somewhere else. And although that somewhere else is also going to be beautiful, there's a lot of wisdom and beauty to be had where you are. And maybe you haven't been feeling like that. And that's very much the divine feminine, is this gratitude, loving energy for whatever's around you right now and not worrying too much about what's coming up. And you're being asked to kind of walk the line, right? Where you are grateful and happy where you are and what you have, but also excited about the future. And that's totally okay. It's just finding that balance and trying to maintain that as you work through this. So let's see what messages we're going to get directly from goddesses about this. Okay, so we have wise leadership and communion. So what I'm feeling like with this is, whatever this is for you, I feel like a lot of you, this is like a project, or maybe you're starting a business. This is going to bring you to a place where once you find that balance and that good ebb and flow, it's going to bring you into this leadership role where you can help others with whatever it is, and also even helping others find the balance within themselves to bring through what they would like to bring through. And it's going to create this almost like this community where, like, I see this like this community surrounding you and this beautiful energy. But you're only going to be able to get there if you take that action, but also let yourself receive that love in that community, right? So I feel like some of you may be resistant to that receiving energy because our society, especially in the United States, is very much focused on like the hustle and the doing and not so much the receiving, right? Like working really hard and et cetera, et cetera. But you're definitely being asked to take a step back from some of that, or put a little bit more of that into your life wherever you are on the spectrum there. But I feel like for most of you, it's been too much masculine and you need to let that feminine in. And this kind of like wise leader role is good at both, right? Is good at the receiving, but also the masculine action energy. And let me just sit with this a minute. Especially with this communion card, is going back to keeping the focus on what you want. And not, what I'm hearing is getting sidetracked. So you may be feeling drawn in like a bunch of different directions, and you're being asked not only in the balance of the action and the receiving of the thing, but also take a step back and let yourself receive that intuition and those divine hits you need and those signs to know which way to go. This may not apply to everyone, but I do feel like some of you are feeling that conflict of, should I do this or this? Should I do this or this? And you're not really sure. And maybe you're kind of wearing yourself thin. But yeah, take that step back and let that divine, let that divine leadership kind of take you to where you need to go. And you're eventually going to help people with that, that leadership sort of, where people come to you maybe for advice, or they really look up to you because of your wisdom. But you're not going to get there unless you stay focused on what you actually want instead of being pulled in a bunch of different directions, and trusting in yourself that you are going to end up where you need to be. So let's get some more information here. So we have, it's okay to change the direction. So if you look at this card, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, with all the lights and the focus and whatnot. But on the sign, if you can see it, both directions point to happy. Okay, so whatever you decide to choose when you're being like this, kind of like fracture, being pulled in different ways, you're going to end up where you need to be, and trusting in that. And it's okay to change direction. It's okay to say, you know what, this isn't actually what I want. I want to go here instead. But to have gratitude, kind of you kind of feel like you're in this limbo, and maybe it's frustrating, but also it's kind of exciting because you'll never quite be in this place again. And you can really, from this place, create whatever you want is what's coming through. So figuring out what you want may include changing direction completely from what you expected, and that's okay, because you're taking that step back and getting into, listening more to these hits from the universe and your soul, and that balance where you can be more in that receiving mode. Okay, so we have Lilith, reclaim your power, and Moonbeam, you are right on the right path. I mean, we're getting several messages here about the path and changing direction. But as you reclaim your power and you get clear on what you want, this is going to lead you to where you need to be. So we have this card, soon you will be somewhere else. You are on the right path. And if you look, this path gets smaller and kind of leads up to this card. So wherever you end up is going to be correct for you. But I do feel like you will be more secure in that decision if you take that step back and listen to the divine guidance and your intuition, instead of almost like the people around you. And that's part of reclaiming your power. As you find that balance between receiving and action and truly listening to yourself instead of others, you're going to recognize how powerful you are in creating this life that you want, where whatever you want can come to you. But you have to, again, be focused and allow yourself to receive part of that. It's not all just working hard. And I'm feeling called that if you want to work with Lilith, she can help you feel more powerful in whatever decisions you're going to make and provide you with some of that guidance that you're searching for. Of course, you don't have to, but that's she's definitely coming through in this reading, and she is available to you if you're interested in working with her during this process. So we have gratitude. So that's what I was talking about earlier, where you have that gratitude for what you want, but also while you have that desire for the future. And that is very important in finding your power, but also going down that right path, and bringing in that it's kind of like telling the universe with gratitude, I really like this and I want more, right? So that's going to help you bring in those good things that you're meant for. And then we have number 33, flower moon blossoming. So I see you truly, as you walk down this path, this blossoming is going to occur from within you. as you allow yourself to receive that loving energy and the signs and that balance. And really, I'm feeling too, being grateful for that receiving. I think you're not going to struggle at all with that. I think what the struggle is right now with gratitude is being grateful for the struggle almost. That can be really hard, but that struggle of do I go forward or do I receive? Do I, that is actually going to teach you a lot. And that's part of where this leadership comes in, is when you'll be grateful for that once you're down your path and you're able to lead from that place of learning from your struggles. But of course, in the moment, it's really hard to learn from our struggles because, they're annoying and we want things to be easy, but that's not how things are. But Lilith is coming in to remind you that you are powerful and you can create what you want, even though you may be feeling some resistance or it's a little difficult right now. But this process is truly going to bring in and bring through you this beautiful blossoming, and kind of like what I'm seeing is like a metamorphosis for the person that you're meant to become and what you're meant to bring to this world. So let's get another message here. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so we have, let all distractions float by, concentrate on the things you really want. I mean, yes, keep your focus on what you want was the first card we pulled. So this really does feel like, again, those, like you're trying to do too many things, or maybe you're getting too much advice or too many messages from the people around you. And this is to just let that go and focus on what you want. And again, Lilith will help you get very clear on that if you need help. Kind of shedding away those layers of us that are influenced by other people. She is going to help you with that and help you with this beautiful transformation that you're going to go through. And this it's almost like this wise, how do I describe it? Just this very wise, loving energy is where you're going to end up. But right now, it probably doesn't feel like that at all. So I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe and let me know what other kind of readings you would like. And I'll see you next time. And this is if you chose deck 3. So let's get started here on what the Divine Feminine is bringing through for you. Okay, so we have gratitude, number 23. I'm being very much drawn to this older hand and this younger hand, so this may have to do with like an older family member who is teaching you about gratitude or being in touch with more of that divine feminine receiving energy. We have number 14, focus. I'm hearing gratitude for the time we had together, so that may be significant for some of you. And then we have abundance. Okay, so just let me sit with this for a second here. If you look at, so we have this person and then this person, they look similar. So what I'm feeling like is as you have this gratitude, so again, it could be something from an older family member or just, I feel like that was very specific for maybe just even one person. But as you have gratitude in your life, this abundance is going to come through. So the focus is on what do I have, loving what you have. And this doesn't mean you can't have desires, but as you're focusing on what you're grateful for currently, this abundance is then going to walk freely right up to you and all these beautiful things are going to come in. And with this focus is focusing on what you currently have. That does not mean don't focus on what you want in the future, but the feminine is really asking you to focus on this gratitude portion right now. Maybe you've been too far looking to the future or making too many plans, but you're specifically being asked to focus on this gratitude portion. And this, almost like they're not even looking at her in the background. When you're not even paying attention, this abundance is going to come in. And that's also part of the divine feminine, is allowing yourself to receive that abundance. So let's see what goddesses and information's coming through her. So we have new beginnings. Yes, definitely, as this abundance is coming into your life and you allow yourself to receive that, is going to bring in new beginnings for you. And then we have home with number 22, which is a master number. So this does very much feel like that homey energy, like when I was talking about the older individual in your family, being grateful for that time you have. This does have a very big focus on appreciating what you have with your home. So it doesn't have to literally be your home, but whatever you consider home to be, whether it's a person, a group of people, a physical space, or the people in that space, right? Being grateful for what you have and focusing on that is going to fill your heart with this beautiful divine feminine energy, which is going to attract this abundance that wants to come in. But it feels like right now maybe you're not focused enough on what you have. But once you become focused on that, it changes your energy. Like it changes what's attracted to you, essentially. And this is going to bring in that new beginning and that new abundance that wants to come into your life. So let's get some more information here. Okay, so we have crescent moon. Keep moving forward. You got this. So yeah, like I'm feeling like feels like a lot of trapped energy. Like maybe you've been feeling trapped in your current situation and you've been almost like fighting to get out of it. But again, you're being called back to like focus on what you have. And that's going to bring that forward momentum into your life and that abundance. And it's really hard to be open to receiving when we're like almost like fighting against it, where we don't think that we are, but we kind of are, right? Maybe it doesn't happen fast enough, or we're not grateful for what the universe has already brought us. And it's not like we're being punished. It just changes our energy. So if you're lacking that gratitude for what you already have, it's going to be hard to be an energetic match for the new things that also want to come in. So it's like you don't have to struggle as much as what I'm getting from this. Like, you got this. Like, you don't need to worry so much, essentially. So we have Diana, be one with nature. And that's very much feeling like, I'm being drawn to the home, like I'm hearing being called home. Oh, that one dropped on the floor here. Okay, so we have the one that dropped on the floor is Witch's Hat. Express yourself, share your gifts with the world. So I'm feeling like there's a kind of like this contradictory energy between this home gratitude sort of thing and then wanting to express yourself. And I feel like the two are actually very linked. So as you are focusing on what you have and this abundance wants to come in, this is going to naturally like let this process happen, if that makes sense. Like the abundance is going to come from, so, okay, for example, I feel like I'm kind of rambling here. An example is if you're more grateful for what you have, you're going to feel more secure. You're going to feel more joy. You're going to feel more love. You're going to feel, you're not going to worry as much about the future, essentially. And as you're doing this, it's going to allow yourself to feel more free to express yourself and share what you have. And because again, this like energetic feeling, I'm trying to find the right phrase to explain it, but your gratitude is going to allow this like self-expression to come through. It may even be some gratitude for what your gifts are. Maybe you kind of feel like they're a curse. And that feels like what it is for some of you, but having gratitude for your gifts and expressing yourself is going to bring you through this abundance, even though like right now it doesn't feel that way. And being one with nature, again, feels very much like calling you home. Like, come home to who you are, come home to what you have, you know, focus on that. And this is going to help naturally flow through this feminine energy of receiving and new beginnings and this abundance that wants to come in, but you're almost like fighting it without realizing it. And I know that can be a little confusing, but as the process happens, it will become more apparent that like, oh, I'm feeling like this, the example that's being called to mind is like, I judge this person for doing this thing that I actually want to do instead of connecting with them and being grateful that I am inspired by this person or something along those lines. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we have number 2, see with your heart. The time is now to hear the messages. It does feel like your divine team is trying to put a bunch of things in your face and maybe you're not seeing it. So this is like, hey, you know, we're trying to help you with this and kind of move through this stagnant energy, but you're ignoring us. Okay, and then we have all is at your fingertips. What has been created by one can be had by all. So that brings me back to that example that I weirdly felt like sharing, where you see someone is doing something that maybe you want to be doing and you feel like, oh, well, they're already doing it and I can't. But what has been created by one can be had by all. Use that as your inspiration, right? For your own gifts and to transform that into what you want it to be. For example, there's a bunch of different readers on YouTube, but not everyone speaks in the same way, brings through the same messages, right? So that's why there's so many people doing similar things, because it's not going to hit the same for everyone. And you're being called to be inspired by that person you see instead of being defeated. Be grateful that you saw that person and you recognize like, hey, this is something I've actually been thinking about. That's a message from your team that they're like, hey, you can do this thing with your spin. You can be inspired by this thing and turn it into something completely different and express yourself. But you're not grateful for like that message you get. Instead, you feel like, oh, just another reminder that I can't have what I want, if that makes sense. So kind of, again, you're like the self-imposed wall you put up when you drop that. It's going to bring in these new beginnings and this abundance for you. And being grateful for that inspiration or that person, or being grateful for, I feel like there's a lot of like beautiful things coming through that you don't necessarily see as gifts because you're too like hyper focused on what you don't have, if that makes sense. So let's pull through another message here. So the second group got this one too. Let all distractions float by, concentrate on the things you really want. Yeah, so I feel like, like this distracted energy from what you want, from what you have, you're putting your focus in the wrong place, essentially. And put it back on what you have, what you want, your own gifts, kind of coming home to yourself. And it's really going to bring through all this beautiful stuff. But what you're experiencing now feels very self-imposed, and you just have to open up to that receiving of the messages, receiving of the ideas, and receiving of that abundance instead of fighting it, even though you might not realize that's what you're doing. Sometimes that's what we do, right? So I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe and let me know below what kind of other readings you would like, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.